What's up, guys? Welcome back to my channel. If you guys are new, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and share with your guys' friends. And with all that, let's get in the video. Okay, guys, so what happened? Thursday night, I was like feeling like dizzy and lightheaded. And so I went to the back. Well, actually, I was sitting down electronics. One of my coworkers saw me sway before I sat down. I guess I swayed, she said. I got dizzy, and so I sat down on the floor. And then I told her to go get my coworker Rita in electronics. So she came over, and she saw me. I was about to pass out, and so she called a code white, and so the managers came over. And then he took me to the back, and I lay down on the couch. Fast forward to 9 o'clock. I called the Presbyterian nurse hotline, who advised me to call 911. And I'll explain why here in a minute. To call 911, so I got off the phone with her. And I was in the break room just chilling because I didn't want to like pass out. So I went to go to the bathroom, came back down, laid back down on the couch, and I had to go again like half hour later. So I got back up. I almost fell. I felt like I was going forward like I did earlier, and when my coworker Rita came over, felt like I was going forward. And so I got like dizzy, and so I made it to the bathroom to go to the bathroom, you know. I came back and I was like, I can't do this, I can barely stand up. And so it took me about 5 minutes. I was contemplating on whether to call 911. I finally made up my mind, and I did. And fast forward to 10 o'clock. So at 10 o'clock, the EMTs were really fast. They were like 10 minutes. It felt like forever though. They were in like 10 minutes. And so they came. And then they came back to the break room. They saw me laying on the couch and asked me how I was doing, and so they were like, can you sit up, you know, all this other stuff. And then one of the paramedics, Zach, he was really funny. He's a really sweet guy. He is like, can you sit up for us? We need to poke your finger, we want to check your vitals, hook you up to the EKG, make sure that your heart is good, make sure you're not having any complications with your heart. And so they attempted to stick my finger. Of course, I got a little scared because I was expecting, okay, there's only going to be 2 paramedics. When I saw them all walk in, there was 5 of them. And so high anxiety kicked in. So then they stepped out for a second. The female, they closed the doors to the big room. The female hooked up the heart monitor to me. She stuck like 10 stickers all over my body. And then she got it all hooked up. She took my blood pressure, everything. And then the guys came back in, the 4 guys came back in, and so she was filling them in and saying my blood pressure was 200 over 20, I think it was, she said 20, but it was 200 over 20, and so they were like, you know, we need to transport, this is not normal, blood pressure should not be this high. And so I finally calmed down enough when it was just me and her, the stimulation was gone. So I finally calmed down enough to where I let them stick my finger. I don't know if you guys can see this. It's like a little stick. That was from Thursday night, and then when I got to the hospital, they stick my finger again right here to check my glucose, make sure my glucose was good, and it was okay. So then they attempted to stand me up to get me onto the bed so we could get transported to the hospital. And I started like going forward, falling. I passed out, and the paramedics grabbed me. And I just felt, before I passed out again, I felt my hand, my arm went relax, and then I passed out again, and then came back, and then it happened again. And so the paramedics said, let's sit you back down. And so they sat me back down on the couch in the break room. And then they attempted to pick me up again. They did. They got me onto the bed, put the seatbelts on, and all that other stuff. And and so then we got transported. They lifted me in the ambulance. We waited by the fire door in the back. One of the managers, his name is Andrew, he unlocked the fire door for them. They brought the ambulance around so they could load me in the back without having to attract attention from coworkers. Of course, the store was closed at this time, thank God. So then they would lift me in the ambulance, went to the hospital, and then the paramedics was joking with me, trying to, they knew I was nervous, and so they tried to make me laugh. The paramedic, one of them was like, I only drive crazy on Fridays, so you got an hour left, and I started laughing. And so I went to the hospital, we got transported, and it was good. Got to the hospital, they said it was most likely dizziness because I'm on an antibiotic, because I got an ear infection in my left ear. It's getting better, but it's still there. And so then they stuck my finger again at the hospital. They did an EKG just to make sure that it was good. And then they released me from the hospital. And then fast forward to last night. This time it was more serious. I was over zoning toys with one of my coworkers. But before that happened, I felt like I was out of it. I wasn't really making any sense with my other coworker named Filbert. I wasn't making any sense with him at all. And he thought I was drunk, but he knew it was medication. He was just messing around. That's what we do. We joke around with each other all the time. But I mean, I felt uneasy on my feet, and I felt like I was gonna fall. So I sat behind the sporting goods counter for a second just to make sure I didn't pass out. We did about 10 minutes, it passed, and then it came back. So fast forward back to the coworker, when I was zoning with him over in toys, I actually started to fall. I grabbed onto him, came back to, got myself lower to the ground, and then that's when I was going at that point. So he ran to go get one of the managers, Steven. Steven came over. I wouldn't really talk to him, so he called the other manager over, Joseph, over, and he came over. He tried to talk to me. I was at that point out of it at that point. So then he was trying to wake me up. He was shaking me. He's like, come on, Mariah, wake up. You need to wake up. There's still customers in the building. You need to wake up. It's not safe. You're in the middle of an aisle. And I I was so out of it. So he stayed with me. He walked away, and then he came back for a second because he thought I was faking it. So he walked away, and then he came back, and I was still out of it. I guess he said he was grabbing me, because I guess he said I was like flinging around like on the floor, like going under the shelf. And so he was trying to grab me to stop me from going under the shelf. I guess I hit my head a couple times on the shelf, he said. So he was trying to pull my arm. He tried to wake me up. He's like, come on, Mariah, wake up. You need to wake up. Let's go to the back. I wouldn't wake up. So by this time, the other manager, the overnight manager, Andrew, came over. And he's talking to him, and I don't remember. He's talking to him, and so he was trying to help Joseph get me out. My other coworker, Chastity, came over. I finally got up, sat up for a second with Joseph's help. I sat up for a second on the floor. My head went back, and so Chastity grabbed it, put her hand behind because I hit my head on the shelf, and then I went back out again. I went forward on the floor, fell, and Joseph was like, you need to wake up. I'm calling your mom. If you don't wake up, I'm going to call your mom. I'm calling your mom. Didn't get a hold of her the first time. So then they said, we're calling the ambulance. We're calling 911. You need to wake up. Joseph's like, come on, Mariah, you need to wake up. This isn't safe. Get up. He was pulling me. He's like, wake up, come on, wake up. And then this happened. So I got bruises all over me from me trying to go under a shelf. Apparently, he said I tried to go under the shelf. And I called him today, let him know what the doctor said. And so they said they were pulling me under the shelf and all this other stuff. And I guess they said they were trying to lock my phone, try and call my mom. My phone was locked. So, and Joseph's like, Joseph told me, he's like, you need to wake up so you can unlock your phone so I can get a hold of your mom. And I was still out of it. And so he kept trying to shake me, everything. He was trying to pull me. He was trying to stand me up. I didn't make it. So then they called an ambulance. The ambulance finally arrived. They came over with the bed and everything again. The EKG, all that fun stuff again. I was laying on the floor still. Even when the EMTs were there, I was still out of it. I guess Joseph said, even when the EMTs were there, I was still going under the shelf, all this other stuff. The EMTs were grabbing my head so I wouldn't hit my head anymore, because I hit my head on the floor when I fell. And so the EMTs got there. They were shaking me too. They were waking me up. I finally woke up. They tried to pick me up. The first time they couldn't do it. So they waited a few minutes. Second time they stood me up. They put me on the bed. And so my legs around and fastened the belts on the bed, and then lifted the bed, and then we went to the transported. Assistant Andrew escorted them out to the door. And at that point, I do remember seeing my coworker, Charles. I know he was going to his break. I saw him walking towards the back, and I was like, oh. And this was roughly their break time. So, they took me out. As I was leaving, I saw another guy, Steven and Joseph, standing there. Andrew was walking out with me. They spun me around so I didn't get sick. But I guess Joseph said he was worried I was gonna throw up or have a seizure. So the way I was like going under the shelf, he thought I was gonna have a seizure. So they got me into the ambulance. They tried to talk to me. I didn't really remember. I was like out of it. Like I couldn't even think straight. And so they got me in the ambulance. And of course I was semi-awake. I was still like really, really drowsy and, tired. And the EMTs are like, "Are you eating good? Are you at least eating, drinking fluids?" And then transported me to the hospital. And I was in the hospital for about 30-45 minutes again. And then the EMTs stuck my finger in the ambulance again. Stuck my finger again. Checked my blood pressure. Blood pressure was better than it was Thursday night. That was really bad and scary for me because I could barely stand up. So then I get this saying that I can't go back. I can't go back to work for 7 days because this time they said it was a panic attack. Last night it was a panic attack that brought it on. But Thursday night they diagnosed it as dizziness but vertigo because of I forgot what I was saying. Because of my vertigo, because of my ear infection, they said it was the fluid that's most likely causing the dizziness. But get this, guys, look. So it says dizziness. But I was weak, too. I could barely stand up. So there was 4 EMTs that had to help me on the bed because I could barely stand up. But look. Loss of consciousness. Like I said, I don't really remember what all happened last night. I just know that it was worse last night than it was the other night. I know I'm not making any sense. I'm still kind of out of it right now, guys. So the doctor prescribed an anti-dizziness medication. So I went back to last night because they said I had a panic attack. So they're thinking it was caused because of the stress of work and the fact that everyone's wanting this, and this. When you have PTSD, it kind of contributes to that. So of course with my PTSD, I get overwhelmed really easy. So that's why they did that. Transported. Because like I said, I guess I wasn't doing so good. So that's why they had to transport me to the hospital. So I went back last night. And of course, I texted my grandma. I knew she would freak out. That's why I waited to text her. If I can, I'll try and import the pictures. I'm not entirely sure that I'm going to be able to, but I'm going to try and import the pictures. Otherwise, I'll post them on my Instagram and Snapchat. Mainly Instagram they'll stay on. I'll try and post all of them on Instagram so you guys can see. But thank you for all the love and support, the prayers, everything. I appreciate all you guys. It's good to know that I have fans who enjoy my content. Hoping to make more content, like maybe dance videos, hablas en español, is speaking in Spanish, because I do speak in Spanish. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, make sure to hit that thumbs up, like and subscribe, and drop a prayer for me too that I get better from this, so I can film videos for you guys. So I will see you guys in the next one. Peace.